Hello again, beer fans. We're here with a special review, a long-awaited review from Dogfish Head. And if you're a jazz fan, you immediately recognize this iconic cover from Miles Davis Bitches Brew. This beer is called, I believe it has an apostrophe there, Miles Davis's Bitches Brew. And it's a fusion, as I say, of a dark stout with honey. A dark ale with honey, I believe is what they say. I'll read it to you. Bold fusion of rock and jazz. On the 4th anniversary release, Dogfish has created a bold dark beer. There's a fusion of 3 threads: imperial stouts, honey beer, and geisha root. So 3 things. If you're a jazz fan, you know this is the Miles' second fusion album. That went deeper into rock and areas. His previous album had been the start of that in a silent way, where he explored electronics and those kind of things. Bitches Brew really pushed which in some ways I liked in a silent way actually better. Miles pushed the boundaries and even further in Bitches Brew, and it became, I believe at the time, it was the most successful jazz album ever. Earlier Miles Davis may hold that record now. And so, as a huge Miles fan and a huge jazz fan, I've always wanted to try this beer. Because I'm a huge Dogfish Head fan, and, you know, it just seems logical. And I'll tell you guys a little secret. You girls too, I guess. I hope I have some lady listeners. I doubt I do. Women just do not respond to me usually, unfortunately. But anyway, at one of the times when a particular girl was responding to me, I found, shockingly to my finding, that Bitches Brew was pretty good makeout music. It surprised me. The kind of primal rhythms, deep, you know, it kind of helps you focus on what you're doing. Now, it's obviously, you know, I also made out with the same girl with Marvin Gaye, and obviously in this regard you cannot top Marvin. But, you know, if you're tired of the same old Marvin and whatever, Bitches Brew might be worth trying sometime. Because, again, very different, but the way it gets going and then keeps going allows you to kind of build up a rhythm sometime. And so I recommend the album, and I recommend listening to it with a special lady. But not with a beer. Because if you're doing the two, I mean, a beer would be good with the album, but not with the girl. Because the beer tamps down your stamina and all those things. You guys know that, I'm sure. So, beautiful head here. Let's bump this up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. You can see we have a nice chocolatey head. I don't know if I can turn up that light a little bit to get this a little bit more focus on that. But you can see got a very kind of chocolatey looking head here. Very thick and creamy looking. It's a beautiful looking beer. I have no idea about the taste yet. The smell is nice. I'm sniffing the bottle. Very chocolatey. So, down the hatch. A lot going on. Very busy first taste. The stout note is dominating for me right now. I can't really, in fact, but I think to the extent that there's a honey, it's taking some of the edge off the stout. So what you actually have here, this is actually rather good. Yeah. I don't know if the root's doing anything because I don't know what that tastes, but my gut here is that you've got a really nice heavy stout here, and that the honey ale's sweetening it and taking all the edge off of it, and so you get the chocolatey goodness without without much bitterness. I mean, this is not at all a bitter beer. I'm trying to get the alcohol here, 9%. So quite a potent little stout here. That's the best Dogfish I've had in a while. New Dogfish, I should say. I mean, occasionally I sample the old stuff, and it's as good as ever. I mean, this isn't actually that new. They've had this for a bit. I mean, I think since '09 or something like that. Which I don't know how old this beer is. Yeah, I don't know if they had the date on it, or how far back it goes, but they say it ages quite well. But that I do not know. Yeah, I can't find the age statement. I'm probably just not looking in the right place. But regardless, this is, I think this goes back to '09. I didn't even know they were still brewing it. I believe this, I know Bitches Brew was recorded in '69. I don't know if it was released in '70 or '69. This was to mark the 40th anniversary. And all around, I love it. I don't know that you need to really play up the fusion. To me, this is just a really nice, surprisingly sweet and drinkable 9% stout. And that's a nice combo. You've got a heavy alcohol here with a beer that goes down really smoothly and really nicely, that explodes with chocolate, a little sweetness, some other things going on. A pleasant beer. Whether or not, the connection to the Bitches Brew, obviously we've got a dark color. In many ways, Bitches Brew was Miles' attempt to kind of recapture a black audience. Black audiences, you can see that the cover really hits on that. This was an album for black audiences. Jazz had, I think, moved increasingly towards white music since Miles' peak, and Bitches Brew was to get back contemporary with what the kids were listening. And this beer, dark, I think that's an obvious reference there. Not a racial reference, just kind of a tribute to what Miles was trying to do. And much like in Bitches Brew, I think the sound was something that wasn't just jazz and rock. It was really a new form of music, taking ideas from rock and incorporating them around jazz musicianship, funk, and every other things, and studio sampling techniques to create something that was really something very new, and but was very holistic. And that's what I really like about this beer. Initially, I was a little taken aback by how little the honey came at me. Now I really like that. The honey doesn't explode at me. It's there, but it's mixing in with the stout and the other things, and so there's not. It's very much a new thing. An excellent job by the guy. It's a Dogfish. It costs $12. It's awful expensive, but if you got the money and you got the time, I recommend.